Hello everyone, so if you're new into ARMA Reforger in 2025, maybe you're playing on PC, Xbox or PlayStation, we're going to go through some of the beginner tips that everyone needs when you're first starting out. Let's jump right in and take a look. So this is the first screen that you see when you load into a game. You can see in the top right corner, you've got the timer of how long the game's been ongoing for, the amount of players that are in that lobby as well. And if you have a look at the left hand side, you can see how many people are in each party specifically. And you've got FIA, which is the AI faction, which are spread throughout the map as well. It is useful to have a look at the section on the right, which is your introduction. It's going to tell you that you've got to capture and hold the strategic locations, which you'll see on the map. If you flick across, it's going to tell you that you need to extend your faction's radio coverage, which we'll be going over in a second, but you need to keep extending the radio coverage to open up more sections of the map that you can take and hopefully conquer the majority of the map. This section covers what you need to do with supplies. Now, supplies are really important to bring into your bases. That's going to be what you use to get vehicles, spawn AI to assist you, and hopefully help you push forward to the next base. This next screen is where you're going to select your faction. So you can see at the top you've got the US Army, underneath you've got the Soviet Army, and you can see on the right hand side of those that they've got the number of people they have in each faction already. So select your faction. For the purposes of this, we'll go to the US Army. Just remember that if you get disconnected or whatever happens, if you rejoin the same game, you will only be allowed to rejoin that faction, which is a good idea because it stops people cheating. So you're going to go in and select which team that you are. I'm the first one going in, so it's going to be Atlas Red 1. It's going to come up with my name, and we deploy. So this is the Everon map. As we zoom out, you can see this is the larger of the two maps that you can play conflict on. This is our spawn point here, which is the main operating base. You can see the value of the supplies that we've currently got there and all of the little icons underneath, which shows that we've not built any of those as of yet. So if you look over to the right hand side, you can see your character icon. That little icon underneath shows your default loadout. You'd look to the right hand side and you would see your custom loadout. If you'd managed to save one, it would be there, and this is where you can cycle through the base that you wish to deploy at. But as we've only got the one currently, this is the one where we will be going. As we've spawned in, you can see we're now stood outside the command post. We salute the American flag, as is customary. And what you want to do is go to the back of the command tent and then have a look at this. So it's going to tell us the amount of supplies, and this is where we can start building. So the very first thing you need to do is get a radio relay. This is going to operate also as a spawn point. So if you respawn, you can load in the command tent, and you can also load in inside the radio station. As it takes you into the building section, you can see round the outside is the ring, and inside there is where we're allowed to put things down and start building. So because this is somewhere where we can spawn as well, I'm going to put it further away from the main tent just so we don't get spawn camped. That's going to allow us to respawn in an area with slightly more cover. If you are struggling to see where you're meant to be constructing the thing you've just placed down, if you're running with your weapon out, you need to look for these wooden pegs that are sticking out of the ground. But when you get your shovel out, it will show you the translucent outline of what you need to build. So go ahead and start building that. Once it's built, you are going to hear,
"All stations, this is Alpha Main. There's a new transmitter tower at Point Washington. Out."
Now regardless of where you are, that is going to be announced to the entire team. So if you're at a different location, you will know that someone's built something. Now we've built the radio tower, if you look on the map at Washington, which is where we are, you can see that these red lines string out to all these different bases, which has now allowed us to go and take. So you can see they stretch out to Florida, Connecticut, Maine, Wyoming, and Idaho. And you'll see those indicated by the white or blue shields, which are next to the place names as well. Now if we look to the top right hand corner, you'll see in the centre we've got a 5, so that's the total that you need to win on this game mode. And next to the flags you'll see the amount that we currently hold. Now the ones that are needed are these pink ones here, so you'll see those dotted around the map. That one's Colorado there, and it's these that count towards that goal of 5. So whoever holds 5 of those will start a countdown, and the match will be over when the countdown reaches 0. So we want to push towards the bases that have got this pink name, but in order to do that you need to take the smaller ones and then connect them via radio signal. So if we click that white shield, it's going to bring up an option where this is an objective. So if we select that, so that's 1 on there, so it will also tell you next to the accept or abandon button how many people are currently going for that objective. If you were there when the objective is accomplished, you're going to gain a lot more XP than you ordinarily would. Now you just need to figure out where you are, where the location is that you're going to, get that compass out and start making your way over. So when you get there, you are going to be met with AI. The AI in this game can be very accurate, so you want to be as careful as you can. Try and go in as quietly as you can. Obviously it's going to be easier if there's a team of you there. If you take the enemies out, then you'll see shortly we're going to start capturing the base itself. So as soon as you're confident that the base is enemy free, head straight up to the command tent, which is going to look the same as it did. You can also see that we've now captured it, so the flag has turned to the American flag, because that's the team we're on. And as usual, we can go right up to the back, start building. But again, if we have another quick look at the map, you see where these radio lines go to. If we now head into it, we're going to make another radio relay here. But once again, because it's going to be a spawn point as well, we're going to try and keep this out of the way if we can. Carefully get this built. Just because you've managed to capture the base, it doesn't mean that there's not going to be any enemies in the area. There quite often will be some nearby that will start making towards your location. You see when that's built, our rank's gone up again, just due to the building. We'll get ourselves into some cover here and then go and have another look at the map. You'll now see that we've extended those lines from Idaho. They reach the other two which we're yet to take, but now it's given us the opportunity to take Colorado. Idaho will link directly to Colorado, so that is something that we can now look at trying to take, and that's going to be one of the main bases. So that's going to count towards our total of the 5 that we need. So we've made our way over to the main base of Colorado. So again, we'll select that on the map and we will accept the objective, because that's going to give us much more XP, which will be vital when we're going to start to build at this base, hopefully very shortly. Let's go get this base captured then. As you can see, killing AI as well while you're trying to take a base is going to level you up, so we've now got to Sergeant, which will basically get us most things that we need. So you can see at this point we actually start to capture the base. It's going up quite slowly to begin with, and then it drops back off again. So what's happened there is, whilst there can be enemies still around, in the immediate vicinity, if yours outweighs theirs in terms of numbers of soldiers, you will start to capture the base. So what's happened is, more than just me have come back into the immediate area, so it's taking that timer away again, and I'm unable to capture it. So if you're doing this solo, or just a couple of you, you need to reduce the numbers to a point where you can fairly capture it.
Alpha Main to all stations. We've overrun the forward operating base at Point Colorado. Out.
That announcement's going to be made to everyone in the lobby. Now we've captured the base, salute the American flag again, as we should. And now we're going to go down and have a look and see what you need to start doing now we've captured one of those big main bases. Now because this is one of the main bases, when you make your way to the back of the command tent, you can see that the building supplies at 9,000. There are a lot of supplies here. You see that little symbol above the blue case? That's to show that we don't have a radio antenna here currently. So again, we're going to get one of those built. Now we're in the main base. I'm not too concerned about a spawn point, because you can spawn at multiple places along a main base. So let's get that one built. We've now got a well-established relay network. And if you see just underneath the base name, there's a deploy countdown, so that's how long after you've taken the base until you can deploy as a soldier from there. And again, you've got the amount of supplies next to that, and all of the icons underneath, and only one currently showing that we've got a radio relay tower. So you can see just as we link these initial 3, Washington, Idaho and Colorado, we can now link them further back. We can go to Wyoming, which would open up Oklahoma, make our way to Kentucky, and then we'd be able to take New York, which would be the second of our total of 5 that we need to win the match. So now if we return to the supplies menu in the command tent, you can see the things that we've got available to us. So each of these is going to have icons on the left hand side, which you can select between. It's also going to tell you the total number of supplies you need to put that down inside your base. So because we've already reached the level of sergeant, which you're probably going to do if you make your way to a big base, is get the living quarters down, because this really is what's going to allow you to spawn AI, get them ready in place, and they're going to defend the base and allow you to move forward. The other thing we're going to put down, which everyone clambers for, is a helipad. And while some people just like to have a little fly around on it, it's the fun part of the game for them, it's actually really, really crucial in getting supplies around the map quickly, getting soldiers around the map quickly. It's one of the most valuable tools that you can have. Let's get those built.
Alpha Main to all stations. A barracks has been constructed at Point Colorado. Out.
So now that we've got that built, we're going to go round to the side of the barracks and we're going to go on request personnel. So when you load up here, this is the different types of AI that you can spawn in. You can also select the loose location that you want to place them down. They will move around a little bit, which isn't a bad thing. And again, if you look at these little icons, it's going to give you some highlights as to what they can provide. Either suppressive fire, explosive rounds. They do different things, so just have a look and see what your preference is. So I'm going to put a fire team down at this entrance here. You can see that spawned 4 of them. Going over to the back here by the helipad we've yet to build, I'm going to pop down another fire team. And what I like to do as well is put down some medical support. So I'll tend to put them back near the tent. So if any of our AI go down, these two are going to rush over and heal them. So not only have we got AI to defend the base, we've got a couple of soldiers who will also go and heal them as well. Now most of the time where you've dropped the AI is going to be absolutely fine. But you can bring that wheel up and you can actually recruit AI into your party. And you can see that it says that they've joined and they'll follow you around. You can give them a command, suppressive fire, following orders, healing someone, and then you can go back in and then dismiss them as well, and they'll stay where they're meant to be and return to their normal duties. But if you are playing this solo or only with a couple of you and you need some extra helping hands to take a base, it's really beneficial to recruit some AI. So the last thing we're going to do is build this helipad. So what you want to do is ideally place it somewhere where you've got a bit of surrounding trees. We've got the edge of the map to our back, so we're not too concerned about that. Less chance of rockets going through those trees. And in the vanilla game, so the ones without any mods on, you can see these two options that we've got. We've got the main transport helicopter and we've got the armed transport, which you can only get if you're lieutenant or if you are American and say lieutenant and pronounce it incorrectly. What we're going to do is just drop down the usual transport helicopter, and that way we're good to transport troops to the next base, and we're going to be going there a lot quicker than we managed to get to here. You can put supplies in there as well, and again, as long as you maintain your supplies at that base, you can just keep that going back and forth, and you can renew helicopters providing you've got the supplies. So that was your introduction as to how you start a game of conflict. So you can see we've gone from base to base, we've captured them, we've gone up all of the necessary levels to be able to get the equipment that we need. You can now push forward. This is the point in time where you start looking at putting your arsenals down, selecting your loadout, because you've got a firm base of supplies already. You've managed to establish yourself on the map and not be overrun by the enemy team, and that's the point where you can start to do all of the other things as necessary. If you want to go and accessorise with your fashion, you can go and do so. Put a little beanie hat on instead of a helmet if it really pleases you, and start modifying your weapons. I like to do it as well, but it's really crucial at the start of a game to get that done first. These are beginner of beginner steps, but hopefully that's given you a firm understanding of how you start the game, how you're going to integrate into the ARMA community a little bit easier. People will get quite annoyed if you just keep taking supplies very early doors, but it is a very fun game with a lot of mechanics to learn. That was just a small introduction as to how the game works. If you want to see more, if you want me to keep going, I'd love to do that. We can do a whole ARMA playlist. I love streaming ARMA as well, so anyone who wants to come over and join one of the streams, play together, that would be absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you enjoy. Bye.